if you look at OG Anunoby, he's looking like a star player in the league right now. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another episode of NBA Now. It's your boy Dom, and we're gonna get right into things here today. So, today, we're talking about the Toronto Raptors and really how good they've started off this season. A lot due to OG Anunoby, a lot due to Scottie Barnes, and it's been pretty interesting to kind of see this team start the year this way, especially after the season they had last year. Now last year they were 12th in the conference and did not make the playoffs. Obviously I think a big factor in that a lot of Raptors fans like to mention is how they weren't able to play home games. You know what I mean? I think as we went through the season, fans of teams that weren't the Raptors tended to forget that, or maybe didn't even know that the Raptors weren't playing in Canada. They were playing in Tampa or whatever, and got 0 home games the entire season. So I think that's definitely a factor to them not making the playoffs last year. Also, I think it was just a little bit of a depleted roster. I think this year, last year you traded for Gary Trent, and now he's on your team full time rather than having Norman Powell. You brought in a guy like Precious Achiuwa. You've moved on from Kyle Lowry. It wasn't like, is Kyle Lowry going to get traded? So I think some of that is kind of cleared up and given this team more of a direction of, hey, we've got some youth. Let's try and start winning again. You know what I mean? And I think that's what they're doing so far. I mean, they're on a 5-game win streak right now. They're 6-3, and they're 4th in the Eastern Conference right now, behind Miami, Philadelphia, and then Chicago at this point. And yeah, they're looking pretty good. If you look at OG Anunoby, he's looking like a star player in the league right now, averaging over 20 points per game, averaging 5 rebounds and 2 assists. I mean, he's looking good to start the season. And I mean, there's not much else you can say about it. I mean, this is a two-way guy that he's only 24 years old, 6'7", 230 pounds. He can clamp up on defense, and he started to be able to just score the ball more, and has gotten kind of that opportunity that he didn't quite have, especially last year, with Siakam and everything. And so he's kind of getting that opportunity, and Wells still averaging over 20 points per game. Like I said, he's averaging almost 2 steals and almost a block per game as well. And yeah, just looking super solid. Now his efficiency could look a little bit better. I think part of that is due to him adjusting to this top scorer type of guy. I mean, it's a guy that's gotten better throughout his career, pretty much every season. I mean, started off in his rookie season, averaged about 6 points per game, bumped that up to 7 the next year, bumped that up to 10, bumped that up to 15 last year, and then now he's averaging over 20. So I think that kind of comes with the territory of just adjusting. Also, some of the rule changes have dropped a lot of players' efficiencies and free throw attempts and stuff like that. So some of that adjustment kind of in there, but I'd expect his averages to bounce back to where they are. His 3-point percentage is about where it has always been. I mean, this would about be his average for his 3-point percentage. His worst was the sophomore season with 33%, which is slightly below, I think, league average. I think league average is like 34, 35. So 37, he's above league average 3-point shooter on 8 a game. And then, like I said, I'd expect his just overall field goal percentage to increase from 41%, because that's pretty low, to be honest, for a guy averaging 20 points per game. So I think that's something to watch. But yeah, he's looking like a star, and I think if this team makes the playoffs, he's going to be an all-star. So OG Anunoby really has a shot to make an all-star team this year for the Toronto Raptors, and that's kind of crazy. Because, a lot of people had thrown this out before the season, and that's why a lot of people were picking him for most improved. Part of the reason I was very hesitant to do something like that was just because he felt like a guy that was just going to be solid, and then look like he was going to do good and be solid, and then look like he was going to be good and be solid, and just always have that potential to be that most improved player, and never maybe hit on it. But you know, he's definitely up there at this point. Definitely doing some good stuff for them. Another guy to look at is Scottie Barnes. This is a guy that, you know, coming in, I thought it was a terrible draft pick for the Toronto Raptors, and I'll hold that till the end. That's what I thought. I thought Jalen Suggs was the perfect, he fell in their lap at 4, was the perfect pick for him, and them going with Scottie Barnes shocked me. Now, this was a guy that was supposed to come in raw, good defense, again at that 6'7", 230 build, pretty much the same type of build as OG, at least height and weight-wise, right? And he was supposed to come in, and it would take a few years for his offense to really come around. Well, this man has come into the league and is averaging 18 points per game and almost 9 rebounds and 2 assists. And again, is looking like a future star for this team. Averaging over half a steal and over half a block per game as well. He is looking solid. Now, his 3-point percentage leaves a lot to be desired. Although he's not attempting many, so that kind of shows you why. He's only shooting 22% from 3 on about 1.5 a game, so at least he's shooting them, but it leaves a lot to be desired. But inside the paint, shooting over 55%, or inside the 3, shooting over 55%, and just, he's looked good, man. He's looked good. I would say he's the front runner for Rookie of the Year at this point. Evan Mobley and Chris Duarte definitely are in that conversation as well. I believe Duarte is averaging like 24, and then off the top of my head, I don't even know Evan Mobley's averages, but he has looked like a defensive star for the Cavaliers. We're talking about, you know, two-way guys like Scottie Barnes. Evan Mobley's right there with him with that two-way ability and the length that he can stretch the court with. He's averaging 13, 8, and 2, so averaging not quite as many points. But he is, you know, doing a little bit, like I said, more defensively with that one steal and over one block per game. And then he's kind of got that same 3-point percentage where he's shooting about 1 a game, shooting about 20%. So Mobley's the center, Barnes is the forward. I think really they've translated their game super fantastically to the NBA, and I think they're going to make it a tight Rookie of the Year race, especially if we see Cade jump on to the scene once he kind of starts getting going here after his minutes restrictions start to go away, and if Jalen Green can kind of pick something up for the Rockets. I mean, we really could see a 5 to 6 man Rookie of the Year race that is pretty tight, especially, I mean, you're always going to get that one guy that kind of comes out of nowhere. I think maybe that's Chris Duarte for this year, to kind of be in that race, kind of like Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, I think we all thought that he fell last year for Tyrese, but still was kind of a guy that wasn't that top 10, top 5 pick guy that really flew into the Rookie of the Year race type thing. And I mean, yeah, like I said, if those 2 top picks can really kind of get things together here, I would expect this to be a super tight Rookie of the Year race through the rest of the way, with Scottie Barnes at this point leading it, and I would say leading it by a good amount, considering, you know, it's really his and OG's team right now, and they're making things happen. I mean, averaging 38 points per game between the two of them, averaging, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, good defense from both of them, very versatile. Yeah, looks super solid. And I mean, speaking of defense, this team, defense. That's the huge part about the Raptors. And I would say, I mean, currently to start the season, my best defensive teams would be Miami, Toronto. Again, the Cavs are going to be in there. Utah is going to be in there. To be honest, it feels like Memphis should be in there. At least the way they've performed against my Denver Nuggets. 2 straight wins against us, which is not very good for us. But yeah, I mean, the Cavs, the Raptors, and the Heat are definitely, I would say, probably the top 3 defensive teams in the league at this moment. Utah, I would probably put right outside of that, or maybe I'd put them in there, and I'm just a little high on these rookies and how they're doing. But I guess those would be the top 4, however you want to order it. But like I said, the Raptors are up there. They're hanging their hats on the defensive end. Something that always helps this team succeed is just being able to be versatile on the defensive end, right? Having guys like OG and Scottie Barnes and Delano Banton and Isaac Bonga and just guys like Yuta Watanabe, these like 6'7", 6'9", 6'8" guys that can guard guards and forwards, and sometimes they can guard the centers and stuff like that. Just that versatility that they have throughout this roster helps them with no matter what the unit is on the floor, just get stops. And sometimes that's, especially the way that the rules have kind of opened up for defense a little bit more this year, in defensive favor, so that, some of these more BS foul calls aren't being called, and it's more real defense versus real offense. Having a group of versatile defenders helps you with that. Even if they all aren't great, sometimes it's just having that length that can just kind of make up for defensive struggles or whatever it may be, and just a roster full of them that the Raptors have, and definitely I think is a big factor of why they're doing so well this year. Now, Precious Achiuwa, I've mentioned, I've made a video on him before as well. I thought he was going to be better than he started off. When he hits, he hits. When he misses, he misses. Great quote from Pierre on Through the Wire. And I agree with that. And so we'll have to see if he can kind of really become the center for this team. I think to this point, their best option at that has been Khem Birch. He's just been able to do some stuff for them that, you're not going to complain about, right? Now, although Precious is averaging 8 and 9, and even Chris Boucher is averaging 5 and 4, so Khem Birch kind of falls right in the middle there. Not a ton of production from any of their bigs. Khem Birch being 6 and 5 so far on the season. I think when he's just out there, he looks good with the lineups. He's shooting over 50% from the field, not taking an outrageous amount of shots. You know what I mean? It just feels good out there. 5.1 plus minus win on the court. The highest of his career. The only time that he's been positive since his rookie season in Orlando. And when you look at what he did last year for the team, this was a guy that came in and averaged about 7 points per game. Almost a steal per game, almost a block per game, and then 6 rebounds as well. So just kind of brought that over from last year's, kind of carried that mediocre success for him. Obviously not like a star center or anything, but has just looked solid for them. And then I think Gary Trent kind of getting a full offseason with this team and everything like that has definitely helped them. Fred VanVleet just does whatever the team needs, and that looks solid on his end. But yeah, I mean, the team Goran Dragic gave up on them before the season, and I think that helped put a chip on some of these young guys' shoulders coming into the season, where you trade for a guy that's I feel like a respected veteran throughout the league, right? He's been able to do things. He's been an all-star, kind of been a journeyman a little bit, found his home a little bit in Miami, and then once he gets traded to the Raptors, almost dismisses your roster in a sense of like, I'm ready to get out of here before he even walks in the door. So definitely I think that's lit a little bit of a fire under some of these guys' shoulders, and that's definitely shown to start off the season, the way that they went from bottom feeders to trying to, at this point, if the playoffs started, they would have home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs against the Charlotte Hornets. Which, God, would that be a fun series to watch? That would be the young defensive monster versus the young offensive superpower. That would be super fun to watch. Yeah, I would actually really like to see that series. Now, will they be able to keep up this success and stay in the playoffs? That's a big question a lot of people have. I think when you look at the standings right now for the East, you've got Miami, you've got Philly, you've got Chicago, you've got Brooklyn. I think Charlotte and Washington are probably locks at this point if they keep playing the way they are. And that only leaves the Knicks and the Raptors that are in the playoffs right now that could drop. Milwaukee, I think, is a lock. And I would say Atlanta's a lock. But they've been very hit or miss, I think, to start the season. So if they're in the play-in, I wouldn't be too shocked. If the Knicks are in the play-in, I wouldn't be too shocked. Even if Cleveland or Indiana sneaks into that play-in, I wouldn't be too shocked. So Toronto has a shot. The East has gotten a lot deeper in the last few years and is going to make that more difficult for them. But they definitely have an opportunity here. Again, it just kind of comes down to winning the games you should win and doing what you can in the games that you're not expected to. Obviously, winning the last 5, that's really good. Beating Indiana, a team that could sneak into that play-in or whatever, by 3 points, a good win. Beating New York, again, another team that's in the playoffs right now, was in the playoffs last year, could be in the playoffs, could be a play-in team, another good win. And then beating the Wizards as well, again, a team I said I think might be legit for a bottom of the playoff type of team as well. I think those are 3 very solid wins to hold them in the playoffs so far, and if they can keep doing that throughout the season, they will be a playoff team. I mean, even when you think about it, the way that they performed against Chicago, they lost that game, but they put up a good fight, and it's definitely good signs. It's good signs across the board. Not a lot to complain about when you watch this team. Obviously, I think Scottie Barnes has kind of brought some flair to the team with him being a guy that comes in with a chip on his shoulder because he got picked higher, and then everybody kind of said he shouldn't have been picked that high, but coming in and proving that he deserved it, and just working his butt off and stuff like that, I think has brought some excitement to this team that sometimes the Raptors just don't have, just because they're always a solid team, but outside of Toronto, as NBA fans, we kind of just, okay, it's the Raptors. And so I think Scottie Barnes has helped with that, and kind of has brought some highlight and excitement around the team, and just through the league about the team. So I'd like to see how this team continues. If Scottie Barnes can go for Rookie of the Year, if OG Anunoby can make his first All-Star team, and what the heck is going to happen when Pascal Siakam comes back. Maybe that's another video for another day. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe for more, and that's been it for me today. It's your boy Dom, and I'll catch you all later. Peace out.